All right. Well, while everyone's coming in, thank you for joining and thank you for being with us today. We are excited for our April 2023 demo days. We are joined by leadership from three fantastic and very exciting companies. Today we have Troy Helming, who is the founder and CEO of EarthGrid, Jit and Steve. Jit is the president and CEO of Catalyst, and Steve is one of his advisors. And Esmond and Rob from Power Hero. Esmond is the CEO, and Rob is the CMO, and both are co-founders to the business. Before I get started, I just want to touch upon a few housekeeping items. As with all of our companies we host with our demo days, each one of these exciting businesses are actively fundraising right now on Netcapital. You can invest in any of them by visiting netcapital.com and searching these exciting companies. And what I'm also going to do for those of you who are joining live is each founder and executive is presenting, I'm going to drop their investment link in our chat so you can check them out as we're going. Next, I want to mention that we do want this demo day to be interactive as possible. So please, when asking questions, I know I'm going to be using the chat function to drop the investment link, but please use the Q&A function and not the chat to send your questions in. And we'll be trying to answer many of them. It personally just helps me stay a little bit more organized, and we can try to answer as many of them as possible. And lastly, just going over today's demo days format. Each company will be presenting for approximately 5 minutes, followed by a 5-minute live Q&A. While the companies are presenting, as I mentioned, I will drop their investment link in the chat for everyone to view. After the three companies are presented and questions are asked, there will be a 2-minute final thought opportunity for each of these founders and executive to explain why is now the time for those listening now and for those who will be listening in the future to consider investing in their business. And with that being said, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce Troy Helming, founder and CEO of EarthGrid. Troy, come on in here and tell everyone about the great work that you and your company are doing.
Excited to do so. Thank you, Thomas. Really appreciate that. So I'll start by giving a little bit of background about myself. I've been a clean energy industrialist for 3 decades. I've had multiple exits, 4 exits, including one company that became a Deca unicorn after after I sold it, and another company that should hit unicorn status later this year. Also the author of this book, The Clean Power Revolution. I wrote this almost 20 years ago. Please don't buy it. It'll put you right to sleep. But I do talk about how we need at least 300 new transmission lines in this country to unlock a lot of cheap wind and solar power. So I'm going to go fast so there is time for questions, but EarthGrid is my latest company, and we're going to be talking about how to upgrade our nation's infrastructure. The problems that we're trying to solve include the fact that overhead utilities are unreliable. They're causing fires, literally killing people across the West, and also they go out in ice storms and windstorms. Society of Civil Engineers gave us a C- grade for our infrastructure. It's usually a D or a D-, so we're kind of lucky to get that. And then close to my heart, this is shocking in case you don't know, but roughly 80% of all proposed solar and wind farm projects get abandoned or canceled. People walk away from them after spending 3 years and $500,000 trying to get it done. And so they walk away before it's ever built. Why is that? So our creaky old transmission grid can't handle the power, or the upgrade costs are too high. So we need to solve that problem. Underground lines are 9 times more reliable, but they're up to 20 times more expensive to put in, which is why we're not doing much. But look at this. That's no excuse. Europe is 80% underground. We're only 8%. Clearly a lot of work to do. I'm going to show a quick 20-second video describing our technology.
So imagine a robot with 10 lightsabers on the front, just kind of vaporizing through all the rock and soil, and then a Mandalorian jetpack on the back, blowing out all the little bits of rock, like cornflake-sized bits of rock, and it can go so fast and so much cheaper than anything else out there. It's the power grid, transmission lines, it's our water pipelines, fiber. There's so many communities that don't have access to high-speed bandwidth.
So those Star Wars references, my teenage son helped me with that. Anyway, our tech enables this solution. Think of us like an underground real estate company. We're not going to sell our machines. We want to hold our IP. We have 5 years of testing and over 130 trade secrets and 64 patent claims. So instead of selling the machine, we're going to build trenches and build tunnels, and we're going to either own them and lease them out, or we're going to sell them. So we have 2 cute names, Boom and Badass, trademarked. So if we own them, that's Boom, which stands for build, own, operate, and maintain. Badass stands for boring and drilling as a simple service. So Boom creates assets on the balance sheet and long-term cash flow, and we can raise construction loans based on, say, a 20-year lease agreement from AT&T or a big utility. So it's non-dilutive capital to build the company. And we're trying to democratize the ownership of infrastructure and utilities in this country. So that's why we've made our offering available on Netcapital. Even though we've raised $24 million outside of Netcapital, we wanted to make our company available on the platform to, again, democratize energy ownership. And then badass boring as a service, and that generates nice cash flow. As I mentioned, we've raised 20 million in previous rounds. We're currently raising 15 million at a 60 million pre, which is the same thing as Netcapital. And outside of Netcapital, we've raised actually about 7 million of that. The market's huge. It's trillions. I think probably everybody knows that. So I'll be brief here, and I'll just point out the fact that the money available from the government is over 400 billion in non-dilutive grants and loans. And we've applied for several and making really good progress on all of them. Our competitive advantages, we're cheaper and we're faster than everything else out there. We are up to 10 times lower cost, up to 1/10, as low as 1/10 of the cost. We're up to 100 times faster, meaning a kilometer per day is how fast we can bore. Now with trenching, we're not quite as good on either one because we lose a lot of the heat to the atmosphere, but we're still way faster and cheaper. And we're also faster permitting new projects. It takes up to 20 years to get new transmission lines built in this country because of NIMBYs and bananas. I'm sure you've heard of NIMBYs, not in my backyard. Bananas are build absolutely nothing, anywhere, nowhere, anytime. Have one of those in my neighborhood. Anyway, I've been testing since 2018. All different types of rock, including really hard granite and basalt. One of our many patents is the fact that we're not a circle like everybody else. Our tunnels are a horseshoe shape, so more usable space in the bottom to build racks with multiple utilities, power, fiber, water, e-commerce delivery tubes, moving packages with pneumatic or with robots, things like that. Traction, lots of traction. This one I'm really excited about. We're a utility. We've been approved by 29 states as a utility, all the states in dark green. What's it mean? It means no one can say no. As a utility, we get access to underneath any public roadway in those 29 states to put in our conduits, trenches, or tunnels. So it's a really big deal to get that. It's taken us years and a lot of money. That 29 states represents 80% of the population and a little more than that on GDP. On the right is our audacious plan to build an underground supergrid all across North America, and you can be a part of that. Lots and lots of traction. We've won a bunch of contracts. We've won almost every pitch event that we've entered, including a big one, Pepperdine University's Most Fundable Company competition. Over 4,000 US startups applied last year, and we were the top vote getter. And you see a picture of our tunneling machine and our trenching machine in action there. So I'm going to wrap it up, just a few more slides here. Amazing traction, again, with a large utility and MGE Underground construction company. We also signed, this is going to sound a little crazy, but a binding MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, for a $27 billion joint venture that's going to fund 100% of 24,000 kilometers of transmission lines, all underground in the United States. And EarthGrid gets to be the main company to do all that. So super excited about that. Our team includes amazing C-suite here, and we have an all-female board other than Scott and I. And our advisors include a Nobel Prize winner and 2 federal and state former commissioner regulators. We expect to IPO in no later than 2026. We're on track to have at least 500 kilometers of BOOM projects. Again, those are the ones we own. So tunnels or trenches that we own. We're on track to have that done by possibly 2024, but almost for sure by 25. And but we moved it out to 26 to be conservative here. But that would justify a 3 billion to 6 billion IPO based on the comps that you see down here below, comparable companies. And that does not include any of the revenue from the joint venture. That's it. This is world-changing tech. Help us change the world.
Troy, thank you very much. And for everyone listening and those who see in the future, I've had the pleasure of working with Troy. Troy, going on a year and a half. And I can't believe it. Time flies when you're having fun. But I've gotten to see firsthand just how this has evolved, EarthGrid, and it's amazing. And Troy, one of the questions that I got, and you answered part of it, which was the approval in the states. But the second piece of the question is, Troy, can you please dive in further on the roadways, say a roadway in the neighborhood versus a highway, in terms of the approval and going underground?
Yeah, sure. So the process is a little bit different in each state, but as a utility, just like AT&T or American Tower, Crown Castle have been doing for decades, we can use our utility status to file a permit, a specific type of a permit that allows us to put our lines under. As a utility, we get basically guaranteed access to the public right of way. So we would go to either the city or the county or the state, whoever has jurisdiction over that roadway, and file the appropriate permits. It takes 1 to 3 months in most states, maybe 6 to 8 months in a few states like California and New York and Vermont. But it's a non-discretionary process, meaning they can't say no as long as we meet all the local codes.
Awesome. Next question, Troy, is I see some of the lines are going out of the United States and into the Atlantic and Pacific. Can your tunnel boring devices and your company drill underground in the ocean and the Atlantic, Pacific, different areas of the world? Talk to us about that.
Definitely. So the most common rock under the ocean is basalt. Very few machines in the world can get through basalt, but EarthGrid, on the other hand, can get through it. You see it down here in this table. We've measured over 5 years now, average of about 552 millimeters per minute. That's extrapolated out to about 800 meters per day, so almost a kilometer per day, half a mile per day. It's really fast, way faster than anything else out there. So the answer is yes, and we would probably go at least 100 to 500 meters below the seafloor, depending on how far out we're going to go. And then, just tunnel vertically up so that we can connect to offshore wind or solar, or tunnel all the way to islands or all the way to Europe. There's all kinds of possibilities.
It's exciting stuff, Troy. And I remember when maybe 8 months ago, you and I were talking about that and you were walking me through it, and it's fascinating. And last question before we move through the demo day is, Troy, what are you most excited about in 2023 for your business?
Yeah, that's easy to answer. The fact that we're finally making money. It took, many years of testing and almost a year to get the parts and to manufacture our first field-ready machine. But our plasma trenching machine, you see it kind of operating here, and you saw some of the other videos, but that went out in the field with a customer job site, a wind farm where they need trenches and so forth. That went out in the field. When was it? Last month. And we're starting to make 6 figures per month of revenue. So we expect to be, here's another video of it, but we expect to be cash flow positive by the end of the summer, if not sooner, and profitable by this time next year.
Thanks, Troy. And as I mentioned, as we're running through the demo day, the folks that are tuning in will be able to hear a little bit more from Troy in just a few minutes. Next, I'd like to introduce Steve and Jit from Catalyst, another client that I've had the pleasure of working with for several months. And I remember, Jit, when I first met you and we were chatting, I asked you, I said, how has no one come up with this yet? And it was so interesting how you were putting the data together and the impetus and idea for the company. So please come in, take the floor, and tell everyone the exciting work that you're doing. Oh, and Jit, you're on mute.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity, everybody. Thanks everyone for joining us. I'm excited. Very exciting moment for the Catalyst.
Jit, I don't mean to cut you off. You're just coming in a little staticky.
Can you hear me better now? Is it better?
A little bit.
Sorry, I'm not sure how to fix that. Okay. Any luck with this time now? I moved things around a little bit.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining us today. I have with me.
Actually, hey Jit, sorry to interrupt, but your microphone is rubbing your shirt collar. That's the problem.
Okay. Maybe turn it this way.
There you go.
Okay,
there
excellent. Thank you so much. Thanks for that nice observation.
Thanks,
We're super excited to talk about Catalyst. We are building something powering on artificial intelligence. We focus on extractive data science, and most importantly, the platform being built. I'll talk more about it. Before I do that, I'd like to give you a little bit of background why I started this. So I am a medicinal chemist by training. My early career I spent in small biotech and large pharma like Pfizer. Later, I was a investment banker, and I've been a business analyst. I did transactional work, and data is the most crucial thing we need no matter what decision we take. And it used to take us a long time to figure out, where did the data come from? Where can I find the data? That's the whole reason behind why I started the company. Before even I talk about the company, I give a moment for Steve to introduce himself so that we can really get into the Catalyst.
Hello, Steve Gullins. I'm in Boston. I am an entrepreneur, former venture capitalist. I've been CEO of multiple companies, including public companies, and I just love this platform. That's why I work with JIT every day.
Thank you, Steve. So the problem we're trying to solve is currently access to the life science data is very expensive. That's for several reasons. First of all, these data collections are manual, they're poor integration, and everybody is trying to get the data using multiple subscriptions. So it becomes very labor intensive to get this data. And we changed that. We changed that by using extractive artificial intelligence, which helps us read through press releases, SEC filings, any information that comes out about drug company, we can read it, we extract it, we structure it, and make it available for the customers via our database and also via alerts. So what we do in turn, reduce the repetitive work. We make actionable and precise data available to everybody. So those data are available via a few clicks. So what do you have in the market right now? We have two products available. One is the database subscriptions and real-time alerts. It's an precise data, as I said, and most importantly, these are evidential data. Any data points that's generated, somebody can find what's the origin of this data instead of spending time to figure out where did the data come. Why do you need this data? Most importantly, this data answers different business questions, whether somebody residing within biotech pharma business development team or a clinician or a consultant or bankers, they are always trying to answer questions relying on this data. And what do we do? We provide information in real time and we aggregate and we can deliver precise data which can avoid the data overload. We have three sectors we are currently going after. One is the biotech pharma, then consultant bankers, and analysts and hedge fund managers who are into the investments. Currently, we launched our product last year. We have validated the product and we learned the gaps in the products and we have changed those. So we're ready to go in the market. This is our current strategy. We became MassBio member. We're looking into partnering with different companies. We are talking to companies like Launchit Venture so that we can do core marketing. We have been in different conferences. I just came back from a couple of MassBio conferences today. There was another one yesterday. We have plans to go into other conferences and establish ourselves as a thought leader through reports and market analytics and so on. The market is big. And as you can imagine, life science, drug discovery, drug development, there's a lot of money spent. Just the life science data analytics itself is a close to $50 billion market. And now artificial intelligence even getting more interest to combining these two fields makes it very, very attractive. Saying that, I think we should take a few moments to recognize our advisors. Maybe I'll give Steve to talk a little bit about the company and our advisors. and the team as well.
Good. Yeah. Briefly, the team is outstanding in terms of building the platform. The platform has been built for the last 4 years in complete stealth mode. That's why we're so far ahead of the competition. It was built with a group in India that Chit knows well. In this country, we have a team of veterans in the biotech industry and in the venture capital and investment industries who have been using and developing the product during this stealth time. And we actually use it in our everyday dealings with the markets and with our investment portfolios. It's an amazing team and an amazing platform.
Finally, I think I need to recognize that we could not have done with the partnership without the partnerships. We have several crucial partnerships, including partnership with Zeltmach, who also I consider as the founding technology partner of Catalyst. As you can see at the bottom as well, we partnered with different newswares who provides us data in real time. We are also partnered with Mass Life Science Center, who helps us with funding for hiring their part-time employees. And finally, we've been fortunate to partner with AWS Activate as well. Saying that, I think I'll pause here and take any questions.
Thanks, Jet. A couple questions that came in for you and Steve. Pull it up here. Jet, can you talk about where the market's going in terms of the market opportunity through 2024 and 2025? Kind of that hockey stick curve trend, Jet, that you alluded to. I think this, right. This attendee just wants you to dive in a little further.
Right, sure. I'll start and then Steve can elaborate. I think this data is the crucial part for any kind of analytics that we are doing in the life science industry, and especially whether we're trying to figure out what would be the best way to study clinical trials, or whether we're going to invest in a particular company. Ultimately, artificial intelligence and automation will help us to get there. So that is the most important part, will help us getting this platform in hands of everybody.
So I'll add something briefly. This is going to automate and reduce the need for individuals doing lots and lots of work. These are white collar jobs, just as we're seeing across AI. They're going to disappear because the ability to automate and use AI approaches enables people to make decisions. Teams of people are currently hired. In fact, the largest provider of services like this in the industry has 13,000 employees to our 10. And because and head-to-head, our system operates as well.
Thanks, Steve, and thanks, Jet. In terms of the business model and the company generating revenue, Jet, can you dive into a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so it's a SaaS recurring revenue business model, and we have 2 products for subscriptions right now. It's also price will depend on a number of users. We do provide monthly subscriptions right now, but we will be going into more multi-year subscription model. So we make money by selling access to this on the web-based database subscriptions and real-time alerts. In addition to that, we have some more products coming in. We plan to integrate clinical trials analytics, automated reports. Those automated reports will be more a la carte. Somebody can come in and purchase a report for a particular disease or a particular company or a group of companies. So those reports will be more a la carte, but the core product is subscription-based, repetitive, recurring revenue model.
Thanks, Jet. And I'm excited for this question because I've had a little bit under the hood view of the exciting traction that you've been able to garner. Specifically, you know, when we started chatting last year, yes, but this year you guys have been moving very quickly. So Jet, can you talk about some of the key accomplishments up until April of this year, and then maybe looking forward to the next couple months on where the company's going?
Sure. So the company was founded in 2019, And we focused on extractive artificial intelligence from the very beginning. And in 2020, when we had the first glimpse of the results, we had we filed our first patent, and that's been continued, and we file patent worldwide right now. That's one of the major milestones we had over the years. Over the years, we established critical partnerships with all these news vendors and many other companies. And that's another important milestone we achieved over the years. Last year, we launched the beta product. We wanted to learn what are you missing and what else do you need to do in this platform. We only went to a handful of 10, 15 companies to learn from them. And we were able to get several customers, and some of the customers who are long-term customers, as you can imagine, we offer both short-term contract or a long-term contract. Both of our long-term contract companies, they renewed. So super excited, and we're just getting ready to take it to the market. And once we start commercialize this product, as I said, we want to integrate visualization. We want to integrate clinical trials analytics. We also integrate stock market data. I think opportunities are big going forward, but we want to take measured steps, especially because the market is very tight.
Jit, thank you very much. And Steve, appreciate the context as well. And you'll be able to hear more from Jit and Steve just in a few moments here. And next, I'd like to introduce Esmond and Rob, both co-founders to Power Hero. And like both with Troy, Jit, and Steve, had the pleasure of the last couple of months working with these two individuals and talented entrepreneurs, not only with myself, but my colleague Sam. And what these guys are doing is extremely exciting, and I can't do it justice. So Rob, Esmond, come on in here and tell the world what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. I'm Rob Kent. I'm one of the co-founders of Power Hero, and we are an innovative clean energy company, and our goal is to rapidly scale EV charging. Our approach is founded on a strong base of intellectual property. We have 6 patents and counting. We've secured 3 California city pilots in a short period of time. And we will continue to align partnerships in California because it's a huge market with 270,000 plus apartment buildings and over 6 million residential units. And at Power Hero, our simple mantra is to charge everywhere. And that's because we think the gas station model for electric vehicle charging is fundamentally flawed. Why do we need to line up for electricity and pump it when it's essentially everywhere? And to put this in perspective, less than 20% of the time your vehicle is on the road or parked somewhere that we would consider short-term for less than 2 hours, running errands, etc. But this is where the industry is forcing lots of expensive, cumbersome, high-speed charging right now. And it's where your car spends the least amount of time. But over 80% of the time, your car is, consistently parked in some sort of long-term parking, usually at home or work, just sitting there doing nothing. And this is where people really want to charge their car, where it sits idle for long periods of time. They don't need it, much like the way they charge their cell phones. So the real problem in the market, we think, isn't the lack of these big electricity pumps. First, we need to solve the problem of more access to overnight charging. For people like me that own a single family home, it's fine. But for people that live in apartments and dense urban areas, it's difficult to get overnight charging, if not impossible. 120-volt plugs are hard to find, and if you get them, you're only going to get about 4 miles of range per hour while you're plugged into that plug. If you want a level 2 charger, it's going to require 220-volt circuit and installation with 40-amp wiring, and there's just a very low likelihood that your landlord is going to do that kind of renovation or retrofitting for you. So the other problem is when you want to park for long periods of time away from home, it's really difficult to get access to that kind of charging. Level 2 chargers, the smaller ones, are very prevalent. If your employer has them, then great. But if not, they're very hard to find. They aren't connected to the cloud. You can't reserve the slots for longer periods of time. It's a lot like the Hunger Games. You're fighting each other to find these things. You never know if someone's going to be there, even if they're working. For the more sophisticated level 3 chargers, or the superchargers, as people call them, they're much fewer in number. And, they are connected, but they're connected across fragmented networks that are spread over various apps and payment methods. And they're really still designed for you to just sit there, and they're fast charging, but they're not so fast. You're going to be there for 15 to 20 minutes trying to take a call while you pump. So our solutions are designed to attack these problems head on. For overnight charging in apartments and urban areas, we have a product called PowerPack. It's a breakthrough patented solution that allows anyone to get 100 miles of range per day on a simple 120-volt circuit with no electrical retrofitting. For more access to public charging, our product CAMEO can connect over 1 million private and public level 2 chargers to the cloud instantly. And that allows these chargers to be located and reserved by an EV driver, or the owner of that charger can turn it into a revenue source. Our solutions are set to make a pretty meaningful difference in a very exciting market right now. Today, there are over 100 million Americans that live in apartments and millions more that live in dense urban areas that have a need for our solutions. And over the next 7 years, the market is projected to grow substantially. We're expecting a $137 billion market with EVs making up 40% of all vehicles on the road. And that means that the $2 million EVs on the road today are going to grow to over 28 million EVs by 2030. So let's dive into our products a little bit more. First is PowerPack. It's designed to solve the problem of overnight charging for people that live in apartments in dense urban areas. PowerPack easily installs onto any 120-volt circuit with no electrical retrofitting needed. So anywhere there's lighting in a parking lot or the street, you can install PowerPack. When you leave for work, PowerPack will bank power for you for up to 12 hours. When you return, PowerPack will dump that power back into your car at a level 2 rate of 220 volts. When PowerPack is empty, it then charges your car at the normal 120 volt rate, giving you that 4 miles of range per hour. So this allows a driver to get up to 100 miles a day, twice as much as they would normally get out of a 120 volt plug. And that's way longer than your average commute. And PowerPack also will intelligently bank the power, so we can program it to bank power off peak when the rates are the lowest, and you don't have everyone hitting the grid on 40 amps at 5:30 every day. So utilities and cities love this idea. And it's really an ideal solution for apartments in urban areas, but there's also a reverse case for businesses who can install them for their employers. So instead of the power being banked while you sleep and you get back, it can be banked while you sleep. And when you get to work, you can get your commuting range back. And the employer can really control the cost and how much power they're dishing out to people. Our next innovative solution is CAMEO. And CAMEO allows any EV charger to be immediately connected to the cloud. And it allows it to be located, it can be reserved, and it can generate revenue for the owner. So CAMEO can connect any public or private level 2 charger. This can be even someone that a homeowner owns. And you clip on the CAMEO and it connects to a 4G circuit. And the owners can then manage their chargers, and they can provision them to specific users, specific groups, or they can provision it to the general public. And this can be done at different times of day. Drivers can reserve a charging station. They can see its availability in real time, not only know where it is, but if it's being used and if it's operable. And the platform's user-friendly, and it's very easy to process transactions on. It can also be designed to work as an API and integrate into other platforms. There's no need for everyone to come onto our platform. It can work in the background and integrate with other existing platforms that a utility or a municipality may be using. Our business model for consumers, we intend to generate revenue through hardware sales and leasing, along with user subscriptions. We do want to sell this for a fairly high price, and while the outright purchase may not be palatable for most people, we do intend to bring consumer financing alongside, much like the Peloton model, where you kind of buy it, there's a user subscription, and you're paying the monthly fees. We can also sell this to dealerships to be bundled with the purchase of a vehicle over a 5-year financing plan. We can make the product pretty easy to buy for people that are buying an electric vehicle. We're also going to pursue bulk hardware purchases from large entities such as business and governments. And for CAMEO will be a product that we essentially give away, but charge subscriptions and transaction fees for that. That'll be a much lower cost product. Our go-to-market strategy, eventually, we are going to be digital marketing directly to EV drivers and consumers, and that will be our primary source of revenue. Initially, we are deploying direct sales to go to landlords and developers, governments and business owners and retailers, and we will also pursue OEM and licensing partnerships. And you'll see on the next slide, we're already making some pretty good traction on the government front. For our partnerships, we have a pretty good stable of partners to help us get to market and develop this product. On the development side, we are enrolled in the Verizon Partner Program, and that not only gives us access to their R&D team and their R&D resources, but once we launch, the Verizon sales team will pick up our product and sell alongside us, helping generate leads, making intros. Everyone that's a Verizon business company will hear about the CAMEO and the PowerPack products. Aero Electronics is the world's leading electronic components provider, and they're supporting us in our hardware prototyping and manufacturing. And for piloting, we've been road showing to smaller municipalities over Southern California. We have agreed upon pilots with the city of Laverne and the city of Seal Beach. And missing from this slide is our most recent partner, Buena Park, and they unanimously approved us at their council meeting last week. Our core expertise as a team is innovation and product development. And for CAMEO, we've secured patents. We have working prototypes right now. We're currently demonstrating to potential pilot partners. Our PowerPack, we have those patents recently approved, and we're in the design phase for prototype and securing pilot commitments for that product. And deeper in our pipeline is a patented product we call Empower. Empower is a mobile charging station, and it has a wide range of potential, even outside of EV, not just EV charging, but also emergency response and charge manage it for larger fleet vehicles that are charging at a single station. The Empower product will be able to help buffer that and help those vehicles charge more efficiently. And finally, the team that's going to bring these products to market, Esmond, our CEO and co-founder, is an experienced CEO, and he has over 7 exits, including an IPOs in the tech sector. I'm Rob Kent. I'm experienced CEO myself. I've had experience primarily in the medical device sector, launching over 10 products through FDA approval. And in that sector, I've leveraged connected technology for rapid growth, and that is my primary area of expertise. Howard Kent is an active director and advisor for us. He's managed telecom divisions of several large companies, and he's very well connected overseas, not only in technology, but also capital markets. And finally, Armando Castro has been alongside us all along. He's one of our directors in our legal counsel, and he's an experienced M&A attorney in the Bay Area working for Pillsbury. And so that's it. I think that's it for us at Power Hero. We can open it up to any questions.
Rob, really appreciate that. Thank you. I think we might have some customers that have asked questions. So the question around price, Rob, has that been solidified by the company yet in terms of on the commercial aspect and then potentially on the private side?
It has not been solidified yet. So our goal is to, and we think the primary impact this will make is around a leasing model. So there are areas of revenue we're exploring too, where there is a virtual power plant concept in California and other states where we can get back to the grid and potentially generate revenue there. So we're finding it may be advantageous for us to own most of these and rent out the usage as it goes. So once we get cost, we get ROIs established. Like any good company, we're going to try to charge as much as we can for it.
Yep.
But we think the leasing model is going to be, the best way to do it.
Absolutely. And then the follow-up to that is kind of the expectation. And it sounds like, again, you might have some customers. So is that a 2023 initiative, 2024, kind of that go-to-market?
Yeah, so our go-to-market is we're going to be able to launch CAMEO first. It's the most simple and straightforward product, and we're expecting that in early 2024, and PowerPack to come shortly behind that later in 2024.
Exciting stuff. Next question pertains to kind of being agnostic for any vehicle. Are you going to start with a certain sector, you and Esmond, for Power Hero, or it's any electric vehicle is going to be able to use the charger?
Yeah, Esmond,
it's really anyone that in North America, the standard charging is what they call a J1772. And that's pretty much over 90%, 95%, maybe more. But every vehicle sold in North America, and this is where we're going to be doing our first rollout is in North America. So anyone with a J1772 charger just be plug and play. And we've demonstrated this. If you go to our website, I think there's a demo video where we're charging a Tesla Model 3. So you can take a look at that. But I just want to add about the revenue expectations. Rob was really talking about the power pack, but the CAMEO is really a model that some people have called the Airbnb of charging, because if you think about it, there's 1 million homes that already have installed a level 2 charger, and the CAMEO can make each of those home charger connected. So in essence, if everyone took our CAMEO approach, they could be earning money just like an Airbnb host. And an Airbnb host, on average, makes about $8,000 a year. And we've done some modeling, and we think that the host can make some decent money.
Esmond, really appreciate the context on that. We've seen the excitement as you guys have been raising on Netcapital builds. So it's going to be, exciting 2023, but really what sounds like an exciting 2024 and many years to come. And first, just want to thank everyone for diving in further and just getting granular on what they're working on with these 3 exciting companies. And we are going to start with you, Rob and Esmond, so you're not going to leave the floor, but just flipping it around. 2 minutes, why someone should consider investing in the business. Why is the time now for Power Hero?
Okay, let me take a crack at that first, Rob, and maybe you can chime in. I missed the opportunity to invest in Tesla at the ground floor, primarily because it wasn't available. So I think, if nothing else, investing in Power Hero is your second chance to invest at the ground floor of the EV wave, because it's tough to invest in the ground floor of any of these companies like Tesla or any of the other hot shots that have gone public. But this is your chance, because EV charging has got to follow EV, right? And that is the next wave. And I think that's the other thing is I read somewhere some very astute investor, some VC, that was talking about the best time to for a company to succeed is when there's when the opportunity is so evident by everyone, so it's well known, so you don't have to explain it. The second parameter for success is the government has got to be behind it. and you clearly see that. I mean, there's no day that goes by without some mention of EV or EV charging. The third thing that's necessary for success is technology. The technology has got to be to allow you to enable you to do the things you want to do. Now, we all have heard of the Palm Pilot. The Palm Pilot doesn't exist anymore, right? But it was the first one to do the screen touch and all that, because the technology that time was not there for the wireless internet. But the iPhone came around at the right time. So we think we're at the right place at the right time. And that's why you should invest in Power Hero.
Thanks, Esmond. Rob, any follow-up to that?
Yeah, I just think the market itself is growing so rapidly, and there's such a huge unmet need that we intend to be hugely successful. But any small foothold in a market growing this fast is going to make for a pretty successful company. So I think that de-risks a small company like us a lot.
Really appreciate that, Rob and Esmond. Thank you.
Okay.
Jet, what you said about Catalyst, what you're building, a few minutes here, why someone should consider investing in your business.
Sure, sounds good. Absolutely. The platform is functional, it's ready to go. I think, but the most important thing about this platform, we intersect 2 rapidly growing markets: artificial intelligence and life science data. They're both rapidly growing. I think over the last couple of months, everybody is waking up to ChatGPT. We have been doing artificial intelligence for 4 years in stealth. We focused on extractive artificial intelligence, which is evidential data. In ChatGPT, you can get a response, but you don't know where the data came from. We have every single data and the origin of the data inbuilt right there. So that's going to change how everybody can save their time, save their money, and make their decision faster. And we know all that we need more drugs. It's not going away. It's a growing industry, and we're going to change. We're going to change with automation how we deliver information precisely to everybody. That's why everybody should come on board with us now.
Jet, really appreciate that.
I think I'll let Steve add in a few words. on top of it if he can.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, I know you went out, now came back in. Any follow-up to Jit in terms of investing and why now is the time?
You said it very, very well. We're the advent of AI in everyday work and in automation. And as you can imagine, but who's a professional in the industry wants high quality, reliable information. We have all ready to go to commercialize right now.
Thanks, Steve. You were coming in a little choppy there, but
Yeah.
as with all of our clients, with any one of these companies that you're interested in, whether it be Power Hero, EarthGrid, or Catalyst, you can also communicate through their discussion board. So any questions or follow-up for Steve, just go to netcapital.com, Catalyst, and the discussion board is there. And then Troy, EarthGrid, everything that's been building over the last couple of years, your background, this moment, why now? Why is now the time to invest in EarthGrid?
Yeah, well, mainly because it's a really low valuation at the moment. We've raised, as I think I mentioned, 20 million in previous rounds, 7 million in this round, side by side with Netcapital, and signing these big contracts that we're doing. Our valuation's gonna explode probably in a matter of weeks. Maybe 60 days at the most. We're going to see a significant increase in our valuation, and we'll have to close the round, and it won't be available anymore. So yeah, now's the time. We've been de-risking our technology for 5 years, and I put $13 million of my own money into the company over the last 7 years to de-risk the tech. So anyway, it's a safe investment that has a very large upside.
Really appreciate that, Troy. And personally, I know how busy the 5 of you are, and then I know Steve cut out, so let's say 6. Guys, really appreciate the time today. And as one more call out, EarthGrid, Catalyst, Power Hero, all raising right now on Netcapital. You can visit netcapital.com and search these exciting companies, and just really want to commend each of you for what you're doing and the impact that you're making on these important industries. I've had the pleasure of working with each of you during the onboarding with Netcapital, and then seeing it go live and hundreds of thousands of dollars come in. And it's really exciting. So congratulations, and really looking forward to seeing what the next couple of months bring. And thank you all for joining us today. Again, netcapital.com. If you're interested in investing in Power Hero, EarthGrid, Catalyst, you can do so today. Thank you, panelists, and thank you to everyone who joined.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.